Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Martin with The Contoured Chemist. All right guys, it is Shade of the Month day, and I know a lot of you are scared of this one. She's beautiful. I'm gonna show you a different look than what I showed you when it launched over on Instagram. I'm gonna show you a different look with this one. This is Oona. So let's do all the comparison swatches and see what kind of look we can create. If you want to check it out, please keep watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. All right, friends, I got my face done so we can concentrate on some eye makeup. Oona, what do you guys think of this color? I feel like she's deceiving, per usual, especially from some of the pictures I've seen online. Okay, so this is what mine looks like in the 10 and then swatched on the skin. So Oona is a shimmer. I classify her as a 3, kind of a mid-tone shimmer. Depending on how much you swatch will depend on kind of how dark she is. I feel like it looks darker in the 10 than it really does because you can just lightly use it and get that kind of purple sheen. Now, if you kind of see when you blend it out, can you see that it looks pink there? This color is got a pink undertone. So it is very different from the other purples we have in our permanent collection. Like, it is a pink undertoned purple. Pink means warm. So purple in and of itself is a cool tone shade, but depending on the undertone, purple can definitely pull warm or cooler. The more gray it has in it, the cooler it is. And the more pink, red, burgundy toned it is, the warmer the purple. Okay, so this has got, I definitely would still say it's cool, but it's a little bit on the warmer spectrum when you blur it out. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like it's a big difference between here and here. But I don't want you guys to be scared of bold shades, because even though this is what I would classify as bold, I feel like purples are much easier for most people to wear than like other bold shades. Like in the blue-green category. Purples they really pair so beautifully in that burgundy, pink, neutral, warm undertones, even those cool undertones. And then they get into that smoky look. Like, purples go with so many colors. So many. Anything warm, anything cool. I probably just wouldn't pair this with blue or green. Otherwise, I think I'd pair it with just about anything else we have. So, if that tells you anything. Now, I already said it's unlike any other purple color we have, but let's do some comparison swatches, shall we? All right, so here's Oona, and here's all of my 1s, 2s, maybe a little bit of 3s. Definitely nothing close. Compared to some of the purples we have, big difference, and nothing in the back. So let's first go ahead and swatch all of our purple tones next to Oona. I'm gonna go lightest to darkest. The lightest purple undertone shade we have is Venus. Very far from this color. This color can actually even be used as a brightener. It is so light. So there's Venus. You can tell it's just got barely kind of a little purple, like lavender undertone to it. But this would be a really beautiful brightener if you want an all purple look. Next, we have probably our most popular, I'd say, purple undertone shade. And here's where you can really tell a difference. Do you see how gray towards the silver spectrum this is? And actually both of these two, they're so similar. And more like mauve. I consider these more like plum undertones, and this is like purple. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. This is purple. This is more like purpley silver and mauve-ish. These are really subtle purples, and this is why this looks so bold in comparison. So first we have Bend and Snap. Definitely probably the most popular because it is just like a beautiful plum undertone. It almost looks neutral in comparison, right? And then Gigi, which I'll be honest, I always find these two so similar. Gigi is darker and I feel like it's got a little bit more purple, but it has more of a silver shift in it. Do you see that? I feel like it's hard to fully pick up, but Bend and Snap, Gigi. Then we have London, again, more of a gray-based purple. This makes a beautiful smoky eye. One of the few colors we have that kind of is classified as a matte, but has a slight sheen to it. Again, do you see how gray these all are in comparison? And then we have Amethyst, very dark. This, now we're getting into like the 5 category, like really dark. I typically say outer corner or liner. This is a way to get a purple look, and like this is a really beautiful liner if you like purples. The other color that's always called bold, I'd say the most similar, to be honest, as far as undertones, but you can tell how much more blue this has in it. And then since this is pink, that's why it's very drastic as far as difference. Now the shimmers are also different on these. I find As If is a much more finely milled shimmer. And that one of the reasons why might be because it's like so dark that like it almost doesn't show that shimmer as much. Darker shades tend to absorb light, and so the shimmer factor is never as much as it would be for a lighter shade. So here is Oona and here is As If. They look so drastically different when swatched next to each other, but I think most people were like, oh, Oona is very bold, kind of like As If, and they would be really pretty paired together if you're a purple lover. Some people love bold shades. In fact, I've been getting more and more people that say they like bold colors when I'm doing eyeshadow matches. So if you're one of those, this would be a great one to snag. Only available this month of May. Now, there's some other colors that I feel like are in the same color family. And when I classify color families, a lot of times I put pinks and purples and burgundies kind of together because they pair so well together. So Lullaby is probably our most popular. Again, I call this more of a mauve. This is a mid-tone matte. It's really beautiful if you have hazel green eyes and you're looking to bring out the color of your eyes. This is a great color for your crease. So here's Lullaby. Now you can tell it doesn't look anything like these other purples. It's more of the undertone of like Bend and Snap or Gigi. And so I usually don't recommend pairing these two together because you can probably tell by looking. They tend to look all one color when you're finished. And so if you really like Lullaby, it would look beautiful because there's enough contrast with Oona that they're not gonna look like the same color. Then one of my all-time favorite shades, I mean, I wouldn't classify this just as purple. This is Kin. This is one of those that kind of like rides the line between cool and warm because it has both purple and that burgundy, which is more warm tones. But Kin is beautiful. It's got a slight shimmer to it, but again, because it's dark, it's not gonna be super shimmery. And then last but not least, and this is not the only colors that are gonna pair with it, but I'd say a favorite that I probably would pair with it, because again, it's very similar to Kin, just a little bit darker and matte. This is Revival. So if you wanna just line your eyes with something and you don't want it to be too matchy-matchy, I did the tutorial over on Instagram using Oona on the lid, keeping it all very neutral, but then I tied in kind of those purpley undertones with Revival as my liner, and it turned out so great. So you can kind of see the comparison. So we got Oona, Venus, Bend and Snap, GG, London, Amethyst, As If, Lullaby, Ken, Revival. Okay, because I classified this as a 3 shade, you might think, okay, Sarah, that just means it's a 3, it's a shimmer. You can pop it on the lid, and that's kind of all we can do with it. And we can pair it with, you know, similar purple tones or neutrals. Neutrals are always safe. I showed that over on Instagram. It looks beautiful paired with a neutral. I feel like it's really easy, really simple. I'm gonna show you guys my favorite way to wear a bold shade. When I see a color and I'm like kind of scared, and I'm not nearly as scared as I used to be about color, but I wanna show you guys a no fail way to wear a bold shade. And that's as a liner. Have you guys used it as a liner? Now, I will be honest, you have to use it in a very strategic way as a liner, or it's gonna look off, or you're not gonna be able to see, because what's a liner typically used for? It's used to like thicken your lash line, give dramatic effect when your lashes are kind of lost, right? So obviously this is a light color. So if you were to just put that directly above the lash line, all you're gonna see is like a faint purple line. So there are ways that you can still get that pop of color, not be super dramatic, still get the effects that you want your liner to do as well, which is thicken your lash line and make your eyes pop. This method can easily be as bold or as natural as you want it. Now, it's hard to kind of make this too natural, let's be honest, but I'm saying the rest of your eye can be really natural. And honestly, that's my favorite way to do it, so that focus and the pop that you get from such a beautiful, bold color is what you see and isn't distracted by the rest of your eye makeup. So I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna go in with Chai, which is my magic eraser shade. This is pretty much the shade of my lid. And I'm gonna kind of windshield wiper it to kind of even out my eyelid, because my eyelids are not very even right now. Okay, so just eyeshadow brush, as much or as little as you want. And you can skip this step if your eyes are fully powdered and your eyelids aren't veiny like mine. Okay, so obviously that didn't give me much definition. I still want to carve out my crease, because that is literally what's gonna open up my eye. Hooded, very mature eyes, and if I do nothing and I try to put this liner on, it's not going to do anything for my eye shape. I still have to follow basics of what will work to open up a hooded eye, and that is putting a darker shade up above this crease, so when my eyes are open, you can see it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go in with Bubba, and I do like to use warm and cool tones together. I've done many videos showing you guys why I have naturally warm undertones, so when I use a cool shade like this, a cool on cool, all cool is gonna be it's gonna pull very smoky. It almost looks more dramatic on my skin tone, and sometimes I have trouble getting it to blend. But if you wanted a cool option, like I said, Lullaby would be really pretty. Lullaby that I showed. Cafe is a more neutral version of Lullaby. It's got a little bit of that cool undertone, or Basic, which is even more neutral. My OG Holy Grail is always gonna be Bubba, because it is just, it's a shade 4. It's slightly darker than my natural skin tone. It almost looks like I just like kind of have a little bit of bronzer on my eye, and it just opens up my eye more And with this look, I want my eye to be open and not really shaded, if that makes sense, which a cool tone would kind of shade and make my eye look a little bit more smoky. Gray tones give more of a natural shadow. So it just depends on what works best on your skin tone and obviously personal preference. Okay, once you have it at the depth you want, if you need to blend, you can use a little vanilla dust or that magic eraser shade. Make sure you don't have any harsh edges. And then can you guess it? I'm gonna go underneath with the same color just to kind of define my eyes. Like, I'm always like shocked at the difference when I do a little bit of a warm tone haloed on my lower lash line. It's like night and day for me. You can stop right there and then go in with liner, or you can add a little bit more definition if you want. For a daytime, I'm gonna use just one shade darker, not something super dark like I sometimes use Cocoa in my outer corner. I'm just gonna go in with Sedona, which is just a little bit darker, but it's gonna add a little bit of definition to that outer corner. And then I'm just gonna go right in the crease, just a little bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna get a little bit where it didn't look blended right there. It's gonna help me kind of blend, kind of ombre as well. I am not using much of this shade. You could also just build up your shade 4, your whatever you used in your crease, and just kind of build up that depth and apply more, and switch to the smudge brush to kind of build up that color in the outer corner as well. There you go. So I've got my eyes kind of framed out, and so they look natural, the color looks natural, it's nice and neutral. So now when I do my pop, you'll be able to see it. Okay, so like I was saying before, liner is gonna thicken the look of your lashes. We don't want a lighter color directly above the lash line because it's not giving depth. We still wanna pick a shade dark enough to define and give depth. Now, this is what I used Revival for in that last tutorial when using this look. I really wanted to try to use something different. Did you guys see what I got in PR? You guys probably know by now, I have an obsession with felt tip liquid liners. Like my favorite kind of liners, because I feel like they're just like using a marker. They're so easy. And I got this bad boy from Make Beauty. Look at her eye look. Okay, that is pretty much what we're gonna be doing. Bold color over definition, because it would not look the same with just a bold color. And these type of colors, you gotta have depth first. So, I kid you not, this color is made for me. I have to use it. Okay, it's called Meteorite. Is this not, okay, so here's Revival, right? You guys know I always use Revival to line. Is this not like Revival in a pin form? Now granted, it's gonna be a little bit darker because it's wet, but I'm telling you, if you don't have this, you can totally just take any black. I've been using Kat Von D's ink liner forever, and I always set it with a powder. So if you wanna tone down the black, you could totally just put Revival over it, but I really wanna test this. It's Liquid Line Waterproof Felt Tip Eyeliner. I'm going to take this across the entire upper lash line. So when I do a slight wing, I'm gonna go from the lower, let's see if I can get close and actually see the lower part of my lashes. Close your eye. So like you're gonna be following that line from your lower lashes straight up. Okay, so I'm gonna like put it at the same angle as my lower lash line, close, and then flick in the same direction. Does that make sense? Which is hard to do. on camera. So, wow, way bigger flick than I originally intended, but that's okay. Okay, this is really pretty. I will say the line sets rather quickly, which is a good thing or a bad thing depending on your preference, but I will say I don't feel like I'm gonna have to necessarily set this with a powder like I normally do. Like when they say waterproof, it is definitely waterproof. But y'all know me. I love to kind of soften the look of a liquid liner. So I am gonna go over this color just really quickly with that Revival. And I love it because the color does not change at all. But I'm just gonna use the line brush and it softens it. So if you're not perfect at using this type of eyeliner, it makes it foolproof. Just kind of soften it by pressing on a little bit of eyeshadow. And if you have oily eyelids like I do, then you don't have to worry about it transferring up here later. I will have to test it without setting it and let you guys know, but there you go. Okay, so we have depth now. Can you see that? Okay, depending on how hooded your eyes are, depends on how thin you need to keep that line. So right now I can still see part of my lid. That's good because the next color is gonna go stacked right up on that. Now, I kind of tested this and it is a very light color. So I want to kind of show you. If you are just to like, say, go right in, this is a soft eyeshadow. You guys know how different all of our formulations are. And if I go right in, I don't feel like you're gonna be able to really see much color payoff. Like it doesn't adhere in the right way and it's too light. And so it needs kind of some depth built up first. So how can you use it? You can put down a base of something sticky and black, like our cream Black Friday eyeliner. I think I'm gonna try a couple different brushes and see which one works best, but I'm gonna try the line and the small end. I already tried the new etch brush and it wasn't depositing the color like I wanted. So let's try both, and I'm just gonna pounce into that cream and then just kind of stamp along the very top of that line I just placed. And before it fully sets, I'm gonna take a little bit of setting spray. I'm going to saturate the brush so it's nice and damp. You can also use water, but the setting spray helps it a little bit better. And then you wanna really pack on the color before this cream set. And I like to stick to a corner, not in the middle, because the setting spray can create a film on your eyeshadow. And then we're just gonna press it on to kind of stick that Oona. Okay, there's trial number one. Let's try the other brush. Now we're gonna try the small end of the multitasker. Same thing. It's like the line brush did this part better, the multitasker did the inside corner better. Okay, friends, what do you think? Can you see the purple? Hopefully you can in the after. I feel like you could definitely put on as much or as little of that purple tone as you want, but when you close your eyes and you see that pop of color, oh, this is really fun, especially for summer. Summer tends to be the time of year that I like a pop of color, and I like doing it like this, where keep a nice subtle eye and then just use a bold color as liner. It's really fun. Okay, lower lash mascara, a little brightener always, because I don't feel complete without it. And I kind of learned, don't fully saturate your brush with setting spray. It needs to just be a little bit damp in order for it to deposit the color well. Lesson learned. There you go. I have a feeling I'm gonna be wearing this color on repeat. Which one should I try next? This one looks really interesting. Is it green? Oh yeah, like a really deep green. I'm gonna have fun with these. I will link the one I used below. What do you guys think? Would you wear Oona as a liner? I think you could really just even create a thicker black line, and when you're applying the Oona, just don't go all the way to the lash line. Leave a little bit of that black in between your lashes and the pop of color so that you can see that depth, and you won't have to make a super thick line of just all liner. Like I could have got away with a lot less. I was afraid that shadow wouldn't stick, but I don't know if I really needed the Black Friday under it or not. It did give good depth to kind of put this over black, because you can kind of tell it's a lighter color. And so it did give a little bit of depth, but still, I feel like it also made it a little bit more wearable when it had a little bit more depth. Hopefully you guys can see more in the after photos. What do you guys think? Hope that helped show you another way you can wear bold shades. If you're needing an eyeshadow match, I do custom matches, or I can help you with 3D matches or Demi. I will put all of those questionnaires down in the drop box below the video and the pinned comment. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next week. Love you.